Canada may soon compel millions of immigrants to leave due to a multifaceted crisis. A severe housing shortage, strained public services, and mounting public discontent have driven the government to adopt a radical new strategy. Beginning in 2025, immigration targets for both permanent residents and temporary workers will be significantly reduced. Critics argue this could be the most substantial policy reversal in Canada's modern history. Will these measures save the country or damage its reputation as one of the world's most welcoming nations? Let's explore the details. A new chapter in Canadian immigration policy. Canada was once celebrated as a global exemplar of open borders and multicultural development. For decades, its immigration system was internationally lauded as a model of opportunity and equity. However, that era is rapidly coming to a close. The turning point occurred after the pandemic when Ottawa dramatically increased immigration to record-breaking levels, over 500,000 newcomers in a single year, to address labor shortages and stimulate the economy. Initially, this strategy was successful. Labor shortages eased, and businesses recovered. However, the rapid influx led to a backlash. Housing prices soared, rental markets became dysfunctional, and hospitals and schools were stretched to their limits. A 2024 poll revealed that more than half of Canadians believe immigration is now out of control. This shift in public sentiment has forced a significant policy change. Prime Minister Mark Carney's government is introducing a 3-year plan starting in 2025. The numbers are striking. Permanent resident targets will be cut from 500,000 to 395,000. Additionally, the numbers of temporary residents, international students, and foreign workers will also be drastically reduced. Officials describe this as a controlled and sustainable reset, but critics view it differently. Immigration advocates warn that millions who have built lives in Canada will be left without a clear path to permanent residency. Economists caution that the country risks stifling the very labor supply that has sustained economic growth. While Trudeau frames the move as a matter of balance, his political opponents see it as a matter of political survival. The central question is whether these reforms will solve Canada's housing crisis or drive away the very people who have been essential to its economic stability. Tightening permanent resident targets. If the first part of this analysis concerns a broad policy shift, this section focuses on the specific and impactful numbers. Under the previous plan, Canada was set to welcome up to 500,000 new permanent residents annually, a record designed to fuel economic growth and address labor shortages. However, in 2025, that target will be rolled back to 395,000. It will fall again to 380,000 in 2026 and further to 365,000 by 2027. This represents a reduction of more than 130,000 people compared to the original goal, a 21% cut. The Mark Carney government asserts these cuts are necessary to address spiraling housing costs and overwhelmed public services. Polls indicate that many Canadians feel the country cannot absorb more newcomers without the system collapsing under pressure. The government argues this reset will stabilize the system and allow communities time to recover. However, critics warn of severe consequences. Thousands of international students, skilled workers, and temporary residents who anticipated a pathway to permanent status may now be left without options. They have paid taxes, started families, and invested in local communities, only to find the door to permanent residency closing. Economists are also concerned. With an aging population and one of the lowest birth rates in the developed world, Canada relies on immigrants to drive growth. Business groups fear that fewer permanent residents will result in fewer long-term workers, innovators, and entrepreneurs. While the government frames this as correcting an imbalance, opponents label it a betrayal, transforming immigration from a promise of permanence into a revolving door. The critical question remains: Will cutting permanent residency targets solve Canada's housing problem, or will it create a new crisis of lost talent and broken trust? Reining in temporary residents. While permanent residents face steep cuts, the changes for temporary residents are even more dramatic and, for many, more painful. The government's new objective is to reduce the temporary resident population from 7% of Canada's total population to just 5% by the end of 2026. This might sound like a minor adjustment on paper, but in reality, it means hundreds of thousands of people will lose their status. The numbers are telling. Canada expects 673,000 temporary residents in 2025, but that figure will plummet to just over 516,000 in 2026. Even with a slight rebound in 2027, the message is clear: the door is closing. Work permits are also being significantly reduced. The International Mobility Program, which was a primary pathway for skilled workers, will be cut by more than half, from 285,000 permits in 2025 to just 128,000 in 2026. The Temporary Foreign Worker Program will remain capped at 82,000 per year, leaving minimal room for expansion. Then there are the international students. Once welcomed in record numbers, they now face new caps, tougher eligibility checks, and stricter rules for study permits. Fewer students will have the chance to transition to permanent residency. For many, years of study and financial investment may end with a forced departure. The government defends these measures as a matter of sustainability. Immigration Minister Mark Miller insists Canada must avoid becoming overly reliant on a disposable workforce. However, critics argue this is precisely what is happening, warning that millions of students and workers who have built lives in Canada are being treated as temporary placeholders rather than future citizens. The core tension is this: can Canada afford to expel the very people who contribute significantly to its universities, hospitals, and industries, or is this the only way to prevent the system from collapsing under its own weight? Express entry reforms. Now, let's examine the express entry system, which is the cornerstone of Canada's economic immigration program. For years, this points-based system rewarded candidates with higher scores for skills, language proficiency, education, and job offers. In many cases, a valid Canadian job offer could add 50 or even 200 points to a candidate's score, often guaranteeing an invitation to apply for permanent residency. However, in 2025, this rule will be eliminated. The government claims the reason for this is to ensure integrity. Immigration Minister Mark Miller argues that removing these points will dismantle a shadow market of fraudulent job offers and LMIAs, labor market impact assessments. For years, critics have warned that some employers were selling sponsorships, essentially turning the system into a pay-to-stay scheme. Ottawa's goal is to eliminate that incentive. While this appears to be a crackdown on fraud, the repercussions are far-reaching. Without the additional points, thousands of temporary residents, international students, and skilled workers already living in Canada will see their comprehensive ranking system scores plummet. Many who once relied on employer sponsorship to secure permanent residency may now fall below the cutoff. The risk is clear. A key pathway to permanence is being closed. For people who have studied, worked, and paid taxes in Canada, this feels like the rug is being pulled out from under them. Economists also warn that this could weaken sectors, from technology to healthcare, that depend on retaining skilled international talent. Supporters of the reform insist it restores fairness, arguing that candidates should be judged solely on merit, skills, education, and language, rather than on their ability to secure a job offer, which has been too easily manipulated. Opponents, however, see a harsher reality where fewer immigrants will be able to stay, even if their labor is desperately needed. Overhauls in the Temporary Foreign Worker Program. If the express entry changes were tough, the next reform directly targets the core of Canada's low-wage labor force, the Temporary Foreign Worker Program. For years, this program has filled essential gaps in industries like agriculture, food service, and construction. However, critics also argue that it has fostered a shadow economy of exploitation where vulnerable workers are underpaid, overworked, and silenced by the fear of deportation. In 2025, Ottawa will rewrite the rules. First, permits for low-wage positions will be capped at just 1 year, a significant reduction from the previous 2-year limit. This means workers who previously had a chance to establish some stability now face a revolving door system with little security or continuity. Second, stricter rules will be implemented in regions with high unemployment. If jobless rates in a metro area exceed 6%, employers there will find it more difficult to bring in foreign workers. Ostensibly, this is meant to protect Canadian jobs. In practice, it could hinder industries that heavily rely on immigrant labor. Prime Minister Mark Carney has framed the reform as a crackdown on corporations exploiting cheap foreign labor. Supporters applaud the move, arguing it will force companies to raise wages and invest in Canadian workers. However, there's a double-edged effect. For the temporary workers themselves, these changes close doors. Shorter permits and tighter rules mean fewer opportunities to transition to permanent residency. Many will simply run out of time and be forced to leave once their contracts expire, despite having contributed to the Canadian economy for years. Business groups are also sounding alarms, warning that sudden restrictions will worsen labor shortages in sectors that Canadians are reluctant to fill. Farms, factories, and restaurants could all be impacted, with ripple effects on prices and supply chains. This sharpens the debate. Are these reforms truly protecting Canadian workers, or are they creating a disposable class of migrants with no future in the country? Stricter rules for international students. For years, international students were considered Canada's quiet engine of growth. They paid high tuition fees, boosted local economies, and often became future permanent residents. Now, even this well-trod path is being restricted. The new plan caps study permits at just 437,000 in 2025, a significant reduction from the more than 500,000 approvals seen in recent years. Universities and colleges that have become financially dependent on international tuition are already warning of significant financial strain. Simultaneously, Ottawa has ended the Student Direct Stream, a fast-track program that helps students from countries like India, China, and the Philippines secure permits more easily. Additionally, the rules for post-graduation work permits are being revised. To qualify, students must now meet stricter attendance and enrollment standards, with even minor deviations potentially leading to disqualification. The risk is even more personal. Border officers now have the authority to revoke visas on the spot. A student who works a few hours beyond the legal limit at an off-campus job, for example, could face immediate removal under the new rules. Stories of students terrified that a single, even unintentional, mistake could cost them their future in Canada are already emerging. Supporters argue that the reforms are necessary to protect the integrity of the system and alleviate pressure on housing markets, as international students often compete for scarce rentals. However, critics contend that Canada is sabotaging one of its greatest advantages, attracting young, skilled migrants who bring both financial contributions and long-term potential. Are these rules truly safeguarding sustainability, or are they jeopardizing Canada's reputation as a welcoming destination for global talent? Political and economic drivers behind the reforms. Ultimately, the force driving every one of these new rules is a collision of politics and power. Prime Minister Mark Carney, once a champion of open immigration, now finds himself on the defensive. He has openly admitted that his government didn't get the balance right, a stunning confession for a Canadian leader. It reveals just how much public opinion has shifted. The opposition is capitalizing on this. Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre blames the Liberals for fueling the housing crisis and overwhelming the healthcare system. His bold promise is to directly link immigration levels to the number of new homes built. No homes, no newcomers. For many voters, this sounds like common sense. For critics, it's a dangerous gamble with Canada's future. Economically, the stakes are enormous. While cutting immigration may temporarily cool housing prices, it also risks slowing Canada's primary growth engine. With one of the oldest populations and lowest birth rates in the developed world, Canada depends on immigrants to keep its economy vibrant. Without them, GDP growth slows, labor shortages deepen, and innovation stalls. This is the central paradox. Voters demand relief from overcrowding, but businesses require more workers. The government wants sustainability, but critics argue its policies are creating instability. Every side frames its position as defending Canada's future, but no one agrees on what that future should look like. The final question is whether these reforms will be remembered as the moment Canada saved its housing market or the moment it crippled its own economy. When politics and economics collide, it's not just numbers on a page, it's the lives of millions caught in the middle. Canada stands at a crossroads. The new immigration rules promise balance but also carry significant risks: lost talent, broken dreams, and a weaker economy. Millions of students, workers, and families who once saw Canada as their future now face profound uncertainty. Will these reforms protect Canadians, or will they force the country to sacrifice the very people who helped build it?